I'm going to be doing some grafts today, so I thought I'd go ahead and film one just to show you how I've been doing it. This is top grafting, and this is my rootstock here. And I'm going to be grafting one of these Pierce's Pride tomatoes onto this Max Fort rootstock. Okay, here's the rootstock. It's Max Fort, and I'm going to just cut the top off of it. That way I don't get them mixed up later. I'm going to throw that away. And let me see if I can zoom in. And I want to make my graft below the cotyledon leaves, and they're kind of dried up and almost falling off. But you can see about where they connect, right up here where the tip of this blade is. So I'll be making my graft below this point here. Now I'm going to just cut one of these off just above ground level. This is my scion. It's an heirloom. I'm going to lay that down and move that plant out of the way. Now I'll set up the camera a little bit differently so you can see how I make my cut. Okay, this is how I figured out how to make my cuts match up. This is my rootstock in this pot. I have it laying over on the side on top of a little board here. And that's my scion. That's the top of the plant that I'm going to graft onto the rootstock. Now I'll zoom in where you can see a little better. And we'll make our cut. I just match them up till they're close to the same size there. And then I try to make a real more than a 45-degree angle, and that'll provide more surface area. And I just make my cut. Okay. Now you can see my cuts, and they should match up pretty well. So now I'm going to put the little grafting clip over that. Now I'm going to take my grafting clip and just slide it over that stem, if I can quit shaking, about halfway down. Then I slide the scion down into the grafting clip until the angles match up, like so. If you back off so you can see. And now we have a grafted plant. Now that'll go into the humidity box. It's already starting to droop because it took me longer than normal to do this video. So I'm going to get that in the box now, and we'll leave it for a few days and then take a look at it again. Here's the same plant a few days later, and it's looking better than it did that first evening. It looked terrible. It just was really sagged over, but during the night it straightened up. And one thing I've found that works for me so far, I'm far from an expert, I'm just a beginner, so I'm learning as I go, but till that graft takes, the plant has a heck of a time getting enough moisture up to support its leaves in the top. So I just pinch off one side, and that seems to help a little bit. I did the same thing to this one here, and it's doing great now. It's been out of the humidity box for probably close to a week now. It's my first success. It's doing really good. But I'm hoping this one will take too. It's too early to tell. I didn't want to leave it out of the box too long, so I'm going to put it back in now. When it comes to weaning them from the humidity box, I've been doing it kind of like you do when you harden off a plant outside. Like for instance this one, I took it out of the box for about an hour just to see what it would do, and it did pretty good. And then the next time I kept it out a little bit longer, and if it looked like it was getting stressed, then I'd wait a little longer to the next time. But you just kind of got to play it by ear. Each plant is going to be different because each graft is different. Some of them I do a better job on than others. I've learned a little bit as I went, but this one, I'm hoping maybe you can see where the graft is there. I think it's right in the middle of that grafting clip, somewhere in there. But also, if you notice, right above the clip, it looks like a little root started. That is a little root started. And sometimes the scion will attempt to grow roots down towards the soil, and if you let any of those roots go in the dirt, then you've completely lost all the benefits from the rootstock. So you don't want to let any roots from the scion reach the dirt. So that means you can't bury the stem. I'm going to do another video and try to answer a few questions I've gotten, and maybe give a few tips or things that I think might be worth knowing that I've learned along the way for anybody who is interested in trying grafting on their own. I just wanted to share how I was doing the top grafting so you could follow along and see if it works or if it doesn't work. So far I've got one success out of the first 3 that I grafted. I've been grafting a few at a time, so I can't really wean the whole group at the same time. Like some people I think will like vent the lid, like leave the lid like that and wean them that way, but I can't do that since I have plants that are at different points in the process, so I've got to kind of do them one at a time. But that's what we have going so far. And one thing before I go, I've had a number of people ask me the same question, both last year and this year. The question is, why do you graft? Why graft tomatoes? You know, what's the whole point? And the main 2 advantages to grafting are disease resistance and increased vigor from the rootstock. And what that means basically is you'll have plants that won't get diseased, which is a huge advantage if you like heirlooms, because they don't have too much disease resistance compared to the hybrids. And then the increased vigor means you get more tomatoes. Last year I had 1 grafted carbon, and I'll have to check, but I think I had 40 tomatoes on that thing at once, and it tastes similar to a Cherokee purple. So for those of you who like Cherokee purple, just imagine your Cherokee purple plant with 40 tomatoes. That 1 grafted carbon last year really motivated me to try grafting again. I really like the results of it. I'm hoping that I'll be able to learn more this year. But I just wanted to share the progress along the way so you can follow along. And maybe at some point you might want to give it a shot, and you might decide it's just too much trouble, and I completely understand that. It is more trouble and it is more expensive. I think the seeds are probably close to 50 cents a piece, so that is something to consider. But when you can get you know, anywhere from 25 to 50% more tomatoes, it might be worth it for some people.